we should change the name. I actually mean that. I don't like the name artificial anything.
What the is this man saying?
It's pure genius.
Call it American intelligence. You don't even need to change it. AI, American intelligence.
From
All right, let's take a look at Trump live now. Does anyone have the link to Trump speaking live at the AI summit? No, don't give me the foxnews.com video link. Give me a YouTube video link. Have you seen the Gen Z switch up on Trump? I have. Also expected. I told you this was going to happen. Do you want to know why I knew this was going to happen? Because I've seen it happen the first time Trump was president. He ran on...
Thank you very much.
He ran on being an anti-establishment candidate. He ran on shaking things up. And then he just basically became a regular ass Republican. And many of the people who placed a lot of hope on him changing things in a way that would matter, realized slowly but surely that they were in power now, and their lives still weren't getting better. Okay? I told you people were going to vote for Donald Trump. People young enough not to remember the first Trump cycle especially would be way more readily available to vote for Donald Trump. And Donald Trump farmed those people pretty well. And this is yesterday's live video? Oh, okay.
Monica.
Wait, are you sure? Oh, you're right. Thank you.
Millions and millions of votes, winning the popular vote. We won with the districts, as they would call them, to 505, and that's why the map is almost completely red, except for a couple of little.
Where's the CCs?
Side of it. But it was a great experience, frankly, for me, and hopefully it's a great experience and been a great experience for our country, because they're saying we had the greatest 6 months that a president has ever had.
Oh yeah, it's so great, dude. People love you.
And I'm not even sure, maybe 6 months.
People love you, Mr. President.
But let's call it the opening 6 months. It sounds a little bit. I want to also say hello and thank to Chamath and his wonderful wife, Nat. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much. It was great seeing you again. Great couple. David Friedberg and even, as we know, Jason Calacanis. I say even. Thank you, Jason.
Even Jason Calacanis.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. Yeah, he's a good person. Thanks as well to the Hill and Valley Forum and our future Undersecretary of State, Jacob Hellberg. Good work. Good. Stand up, Jason. Good. I met him a year and a half ago, and I was very impressed. I said, let's bring him in. We bring in a lot of smart people. And David's been unbelievable as the job he's doing. Along with Secretaries Doug Burgum, who's been incredible. Doug? Thank you. Thank you, Doug. Great job. He's producing low-cost energy. We're down to $64. I want to get it down a little bit further if we can. I don't know if the oil companies love that or not, but we want to have very inexpensive electricity so that you can power up the plants, because you need more electricity than any human beings ever in the history of the world. When I heard what you really need, I said, you got to be kidding. Double what we produce right now for everything, right? I don't know, Jensen, you're going to have to explain that to me someday, why they need so damn much. Couldn't you do with a little bit less? My father always used to say, turn off the lights, son. But you guys are turning up the lights. I want to thank Howard Lutnick for doing a terrific job. He was involved in the big deal that we just completed with Japan. Howard, wherever you are, Howard. Where is Howard? Hi, Howard. Great job you did. Appreciate it. Really, that was an interesting negotiation.
Howard Nutlake.
These are tough people. These are good negotiators, I will tell you, Japan. But they love their country, and they do what's right for their country. I want to thank Chris Wright, if Chris is around. Chris is here because he's helping with the tremendous energy success that we're having. We're having tremendous energy success. We're the biggest. We have more energy than anybody else in the world. Nobody knew that until I came along, but we have more energy than anybody else in the world. We're making incredible deals on energy, including deals in Alaska, while we sort of That's the mother lode. That's the big one. And we're making deals with various Asian countries that need it. And it's actually hard to believe, you don't think of it, but Asia is very close to Alaska, relatively speaking. It's not the closest, but it is.
This is why people love listening to him, chatters, who are asking, why do people listen to him?
And we're making some incredible deals. And I want to thank Chris. Chris is fantastic, works in partnership really with this gentleman who's the head of all of, you've got the land and he's got the energy, right? But they formed a great partnership, Doug. So that's one of the greatest partnerships I've seen in a long time. They work hand in hand and they have done a great job. Administrators, Kelly Loeffler, I think, is here. Kelly, thank you very much. Hi, Kelly. Thank Kelly. And probably the most important man in the room, and I say it in all sincerity, more important than Doug and Chris and all that energy they're producing. He's a man that produces fast permits on the environmental impact statements. He gets them done. I said, Lee, you have 1 week for nuclear, and you have a couple of days for oil and gas, okay, for the approvals. And we kid, but you know, he really is. He's knocking them out fast. He's knocked out a lot. A lot of you guys have started your plants already, and you've already had your approvals. So where's Lee Zeldin? Is he here? He is so great. This guy, he is so great. That's why he has a slightly better seat than I gave to Doug, you see? He's doing a fantastic job in a lot of ways, but he's doing a great job, and he's getting fast permits, and safe and good and everything else, but he's moving them along rapidly, already given some. And, you know, one of the most exciting things we'll talk about in a second is the fact that you're going to build your own electric producing plants when you build whatever you're building. And it's different things, including automobile factories, which are going up all over the place. You'll see them starting soon. They're moving into our country because of the tariffs, because they don't want to pay the tariffs. They're moving into our country at a record speed. But the ability to build your own electric plant, not having to rely on a 100-year-plus old grid. And then if you have electric capacity extra, you're going to sell it into the grid, make some money, but you'll sell it right back into the grid. Director of the Office of Science and Technology Policy, Michael Kratsios. Michael, thank you very much. Thank you, Michael. As well, it's supposed to be taking a vote right now, a big vote. Senator Ted Cruz. Is Senator Cruz here? Oh, look at my senator. Why aren't you voting? I think we lost David McCormick, who's voting. So is David here? Because you're supposed to be voting, Ted. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I'll tell you what, this man works hard. Ted works hard, and he works good. And a very special thanks to some of the top industry leaders here, including somebody that's amazing. I said, look, we'll break this guy up. This is before I learned the facts of life. I said, we'll break him up. They said, don't say it's very hard. I said, why? I said, what percentages of the market does he have? Sir, he has 100%. I said, who the hell is he? What's his... The facts of life.
Oh, we got CC's. Let's go.
I said, why? I said, what percentages of the market does he have? Sir, he has 100%. I said, who the hell is he?
Audio is low, though.
His name is Jensen Huang, NVIDIA. I said, what the hell is NVIDIA? I've never heard of it before. He said, you don't want to know about it, sir. I figured we could go in and we could sort of break him up a little bit, get him a little competition. And I found out it's not easy in that business. I said, supposing we put the greatest minds together and they work hand in hand for a couple of years. He said, no, it would take at least 10 years to catch him if he ran NVIDIA totally incompetently from now on. So I said, all right, let's go on to the next one. And then I got to know Jensen, and now I see why. Jensen, will you stand up? What a job. What a job you've done. Yeah. Great. He's a great guy, too. Lisa Su of AMD. Lisa? Thank you. Congratulations. Great job. Sham Sanikar of Palantir. We buy a lot of things from Palantir. Where are you? Are we paying our bills? I think so. We just made a deal with the European Union where they're going to pay the United States of America 100% of the cost of all military equipment. They're going to ship it to the European Union, and then they'll distribute it, and much of it will go to Ukraine. It's been a long time since you've heard those words, because we're in for $350 billion. But now we send it to Europe, and Europe pays, and they were great. We had a tremendous NATO meeting a few weeks ago, and it was pretty amazing, actually, what happened. They agreed to go from 2% to 5%, and they had 2% where they didn't pay. They have 5% where they've already paid. That's a big difference. That's trillions of dollars, actually, trillions. But they're going to spend that money in the United States with our defense companies, and we're going to send it to them, and they'll distribute the equipment that we send. So that's the way it should have been 3 years ago, frankly. And Jeff Sprecher, the other half of that incredible family, is he here? Is he here? He's a fantastic guy, international, intercontinental exchange, and he's been a friend of mine for a long time, the husband of Kelly, who's really doing a good job. You are really doing a good job. Small business, which is actually big business if you add it all up, right? It's probably the biggest bank there is, but they call it small business, and she's done a fantastic job. Thanks, Kel. Say hello to Jeff. As we gather this afternoon, we're still in the earliest days of one of the most important technological revolutions in the history of the world. Around the globe, everyone is talking about artificial intelligence. I find that too. Artificial, I can't stand it. I don't even like the name. You know, I don't like anything that's artificial. So could we straighten that out, please? We should change the name. I actually mean that. I don't like the name artificial anything.
What the is this man saying?
It's pure genius.
Call it American intelligence. You don't even need to change it. AI, American intelligence.
Knowledge from medicine to manufacturing to warfare and national defense. Whether we like it or not, we're suddenly engaged in a fast-paced competition to build and define this groundbreaking technology that will determine so much about the future of civilization itself because of the creativity of Silicon Valley. And it is incredible, incredible genius. Without question, the most brilliant place anywhere on earth. America is the country that started the AI race.
It is pretty crazy to consider that all it took for these guys was also for like Mark Zuckerberg to go on Joe Rogan and be like, I hate trans people. And you can do whatever you want with our platform, sir. And a couple billion total dollars, okay, maybe a couple $100 million total dollars in campaign donations. And they went from using Silicon Valley as like the primary enemy to talking about how wonderful Silicon Valley tech CEOs are. Like that was the number one op. The number one op for the Republicans in perpetuity was Silicon Valley, tech CEOs, social media companies. And it wasn't that long ago. Like they kept running with that. And they were able to just like rebrand so fast. They were able to turn around and be like, nope, these guys are our beautiful, wonderful partners. They are so good, so good.
It's really been pretty amazing, I will say that. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing, not a bad thing. So from this day forward, it'll be a policy of the United States to do whatever it takes to lead the world in artificial intelligence. Such an important thing happening. This is really something that nobody expected. It just popped out of the air, and here we are. But we will defend our nation, our values, our future, and our freedom, and it will be really great. But what we really need to be successful is a very simple phrase called common sense, and that begins with a common sense application of artificial and intellectual property rules. It's so important. You can't be expected to have a successful AI program when every single article, book, or anything else that you've read or studied, you're supposed to pay for. Gee, I read a book, I'm supposed to pay somebody. And, you know, we appreciate that, but you just can't do it because it's not doable. And if you're going to try and do that, you're not going to have a successful program. I think most of the people in the room know what I mean. When a person reads a book or an article, you've gained great knowledge. That does not mean that you're violating copyright laws or have to make deals with every content provider. And that's a big thing that you're working on right now, I know, but you just can't do it. China's not doing it, and if you're going to be beating China, and right now we're leading China very
He's
substantially.
anti-IP.
in
Let's
AI,
go.
Very, very substantially. And
He's
nobody's
anti-IP.
seen the amount of work that's
My
going to be
goat.
bursting up.
No more copyright.
But you have to be able to
My
play
king.
by the same set of rules. So when you have something,
JD
when you read
Pondon
something,
says
and when it goes into this
IP
vast
is no longer relevant. We must share information for
we'll
universal
call it,
prosperity.
you cannot expect to every single time say, oh, let's pay this one that much, let's pay this one. It just
Copy
doesn't work
wrong.
that way. Of course, you can't copy or plagiarize an article, but if you read an article and learn from it, we have to allow AI to use that pool of knowledge without
Except,
going
let's be
through
real.
the
He's just saying
complexity of
AI can
contract.
steal everything. That's all he's saying. So they
Thousand.
can make money off of it when they paywall that info later
Right.
down the line.
We also have to
That's it.
have a single federal standard, not 50 different states regulating this industry of the future. And some people would say, gee, that's an unpopular thing to say. I was told before I got up here, this is an unpopular thing because some people, they don't want that. But I want you to be successful. And you can't have one state holding you up. You can't have 3 or 4 states holding you up. You can't have a state with standards that are so high that it's going to hold you up. You have to have a federal rule and regulation. Hopefully you'll have the right guy in this position that's going to supplant the states. If you are operating under 50 different sets of state laws, the most restrictive state of all will be the one that rules. So you could have a state run by a crazy governor, a governor that hates you, a governor that's not smart, or maybe a governor that's very smart, but decides that he doesn't like the industry and he can put you out of business because you're going to have to go to that lowest common denominator. We need one common sense federal standard that supersedes all states, supersedes everybody, so you don't end up in litigation with 43 states at one time. You got to go litigation free. It's the only way. And we also have to watch Europe, Asia, and all foreign countries so that they don't make rules and regulations that likewise make it impossible for you to do business, and where you'd have to make everything in AI cater to them, because again, you'd have to cater to the toughest country or to the toughest state. You can't do that because it would ruin it. I just terminated all of the, as an example, California car emissions rules, which were a disaster. It cost them just billions of dollars as an industry, but thousands of dollars per car. The emission rule standard, because they were making the production of an automobile almost impossible and at a tremendously higher cost.
It's
much
so
expensive
stupid.
than it should cost, for very little gain, for actually, in my opinion, negative gain. The automobile was worse. Under this administration, our innovation will be unmatched and our capabilities will be unrivaled. And with the help of many of the people in this room, America's ultimate triumph will be absolutely unstoppable. We will be unstoppable as a nation. Again, we're way ahead and we want to stay that way. We can't let individual smaller units stop it, because that's the only thing that can stop it and can really mess it up. As with any such breakthrough, this technology brings the potential for bad as well as for good, for peril as well as for progress. But the daunting power of AI is it's not going to be a reason for retreat from this new frontier. On the contrary, it is the more reason we must ensure it is pioneered first and best. We have to have the best, the first pioneer. We are the best and the first pioneers, and we're going to be really putting a nation that we love, America, we're going to be putting it first. I have an expression, America first, make America great again. A lot of great expressions, but they're all so true. To make America great again, we're going to make this industry absolutely the top, because right now it's a beautiful baby that's born. We have to grow that baby and let that baby thrive.
What the?
We can't stop it. We can't stop it with politics. We can't stop it with foolish rules and even stupid rules. At the same time, we want to have rules, but they have to be smart. They have to be brilliant. They have to be more brilliant than even the technology itself. Surely there will be challenges on the path ahead, but together we will meet them and transcend them all. We are Americans, and we are Americans first. I have a couple of people I know that don't happen to be from here, but I wish you a lot of luck anyway. I was looking at 3 people that are not Americans, but they're very good people. Please treat them nicely. But we do not shrink from the future or cower in the face of uncertainty. We dominate the future. We conquer new frontiers, and we control our own fate, and we determine by doing that our own destiny. Winning this competition will be a test of our capacities unlike anything since the dawn of the space age. I believe that. It's hard to believe as the president, the amount of enthusiasm for this one industry. I mean, I can talk about cars where we're doing incredibly well. We have car companies moving in all the time, but I talk about other industries. Everybody's saying this is going to dominate the world. It's going to dominate every industry that ever conceived. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it's true, but I can tell you that a lot of very brilliant people think it is true. It'll dominate everything. It will challenge us to marshal all of our strength of American ingenuity and resolve like probably never before. It will require us to blast through obsolete systems, cut through thickets of regulation. We've got to get rid of some of the regulation, but we want good regulation and rebuild the industrial bedrock of our country. And perhaps most importantly, winning the AI race will demand a new spirit of patriotism and national loyalty in Silicon Valley and long beyond Silicon Valley. For too long, much of our tech industry pursued a radical globalism that left millions of Americans feeling distrustful and betrayed. And you know that. Everybody knows that. Everybody in this room certainly does. Many of our largest tech companies have reaped the blessings of American freedom while building their factories in China, hiring workers in India, and slashing profits in Ireland. You know that? All the while dismissing and even censoring their fellow citizens right here at home. Under President Trump, those days are over. We need U.S. technology companies to be all in for America. We want you to put America first. You have to do that. That's all we ask. That's all we ask. To partner with our tech geniuses in achieving this vision, today we're releasing the White House AI Action Plan. Big stuff. Signing it right after this. In fact, I see it sitting right there. Maybe I should just sign it right now. Who the hell has to make the rest of the speech, right? But here are the pillars of the strategy. First, my administration will use every tool at our disposal to ensure that the United States can build and maintain the largest, most powerful, and most advanced AI infrastructure anywhere on the planet. America needs new data centers, new semiconductor and chip manufacturing facilities, new power plants and transmission lines. And under my leadership, we're going to get that job done, and it's going to be done with certainty and with environmental protection and all of the things that we have to do to get it done properly. Virtually all of these large capital investments can be and should be made.
If a Democrat was pursuing this policy, Republicans would be up in arms with pitchforks.
But for that reason,
correctly identifying that AI is a tool of displacement of the existing labor pool.
Green light, not.
But because it's Donald Trump and Americans are dumber than ever before, they think this is going to yield bounties for them.
You've never seen in this country before. So often, and I've been watching for many years, I've watched regulation. I've been a victim of regulation. A zone change that takes 6 years for a building in Manhattan or whatever. But I was good at zone changes, but it took a long time. By the time you got the zoning, the market changed. You didn't want to build the building. You say, well, but in some cases that made you lucky, didn't it? Huh? In some cases, not too many people understand that in this room, but in some cases, waiting for that approval as the market collapsed was a good thing, not a bad thing. But it's time to reclaim our heritage as a nation of builders, and that's why I signed a historic executive order directing that every one, and this is so important, for every new regulation, 10 old regulations must be immediately eliminated. So we have old regulations that clog up the books that don't even mean anything anymore. You know, in my first term, I had more regulation cuts than any president in history times 4, and that included 2-term presidents where you're talking about 8 years. We had more than any other president, and I think we may even top it this year. We may very well be able to top it during this period of time because you're really, you are a regulation-prone group, and we're looking to get those regulations out of your way so you can use your genius. Earlier this month, we also enacted the largest tax cuts in American history when I signed the One Big Beautiful Bill into law. And I think the most important thing in the whole tax cut in terms of pure economics, and I think one of the reasons that my first, we had the most successful economy in history during my first term, and I think this is going to blow it away. So far it is, and I think this is going to blow it away. But the reason we had was I had expensing at 100%. And what we did is we included 100% in this bill, expensing for all capital expenditures, including investments in factories and equipment and structure. Structure wasn't included last time, so even structure, and you're able to write it all off immediately. That's the biggest thing, not 38 years, not 42 years, you're able to write it all off immediately. And this time we've made it for 10 years, not for 1 year. We've made it for 10 years, so you have a much longer period, but I'd say get out and take advantage of it. I think that's one of the reasons that we had such an incredible success with the first tax cuts. And one of the things that this bill does is it extends the first tax cuts and makes them permanent. And in addition to that, we were granted other taxes like no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. A lot of great things. One of the things that I mentioned, not so pertinent here, but if you're in the automobile business, it's pertinent. I said, why is it that people like us always are looking for expenses and deductions, and people that buy automobiles that really have to go out and borrow money to buy a car, why aren't they allowed to deduct the interest on their loan to buy a car from their income tax? And we got it approved. We got it approved. And that is such a big thing. And I think that's going to be such a big thing for the automobile industry. We're going to be making more cars. Within a few years, we're going to be making more cars than we made in the very beginning, in the super prime. We lost almost 50% of our automobile business to Mexico, Canada, and various other places, as you know, in Europe and in Asia. And now we're getting it back. We're getting it back in record numbers, and I think we're going to be topping any amount. In a few years, we'll be making more automobiles than we've ever made in the history of our country, including what I call prime time. My administration is also pursuing a future of all-out American energy dominance, and on day one, I terminated the Green New Scam. You know what that was? You were all victims to it. Perhaps the second or third greatest scam in the history of our country. I would say the first was Russia, 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 and we had a couple of others too. But the Green New Scam was one of the greatest. It's something that was so never implemented, by the way. What they've made you do.
Unfortunately.
The carbon footprint. They talked about the carbon footprint, and then Obama hops onto a 747 Air Force One and flies to Hawaii to play a round of golf and comes back. What about the carbon footprint? No, we didn't like that. And what Biden has done is absolutely terrible. He made it impossible, almost impossible for people to do business, not even talking about the border, where millions and millions of people flowed into our country, many from prisons, from jails, from gangs, from mental institutions all over the world. No, we're not doing that. We have to get them out. We've got 11,888 murderers, many of them committed more than one murder. Many of them, more than 50%.
Remember, this is Zen fascism, chat.
Them out of our country, or in some cases, they're so
He's
bad,
saying Obama's a hypocrite because he believes in the carbon footprint, but he doesn't believe in the carbon footprint, so it's perfectly fine that he goes golfing.
Last month, you probably read, we had 0 people enter our country illegally.
Like he's saying, why don't you be like me?
You have hundreds of thousands, literally hundreds of thousands of people a week pour into our country, totally unvetted and unchecked. And what the hell were they thinking? What they've done to our country is so sad, and we can never forget it. But we're unleashing all forms of energy, including natural gas, oil, and clean, beautiful coal. I instructed my people in the form of Chris and Doug in particular, you are not allowed to say the word coal without saying clean, beautiful in front of it. You can only say clean, beautiful coal. It's a little embarrassing because we had somebody making a speech the other day, right? And he mentioned the word coal about 30 times because that was the subject. And he kept going clean, beautiful. I wanted to say, okay, just take it easy. You could just, got a little bit crazy, right, Doug? But it's, you know, China's using it. They're building now 57 big power plants, all fueled by coal. And we have to compete, we have to win, and we're going to have clean, beautiful coal, but we have more coal than any. We have more anything in terms of energy than anybody. Oil and gas, we also have more coal. In May, I also signed an executive order to rapidly begin construction of safe, reliable nuclear reactors. That's a big thing now. And many of you are going to be using nuclear. You know, I had problems with nuclear. I saw some of the things, but what they've done with nuclear is like what you've done with AI and other things. It's incredible, actually. It's long-term. It's inexpensive. It's safe. What they've done is really amazing. So we opened up the industry. Very strict rules, but we opened up the industry, and some of you are going to choose nuclear over oil and gas. Or
I'm gonna keep it $1.50. I've always been like a little bit too fearful of nuclear energy. But the fact that Donald Trump is talking about nuclear in positive terms in a speech that is mostly dedicated to deregulation is fucking terrifying.
Baby build, and we will be adding at least as much electric capacity as China. We think we're going to catch them and maybe even have something a little bit extra.
Right as I'm coming around the nuclear energy.
And we'll be doing at least as much, and every company will be given the right to build their own power plant. So when you build, you can build your power plant with it, and you are essentially going to become your own utility. It's a utility to yourselves. And as I said, any excess energy you're going to sell back to the grid and make plenty of money doing it. As a result of these pro-American policies since my election, we're seeing trillions and trillions of dollars in new investments. So at this moment, we have almost $17 trillion coming into this country. There's never been a period of time like that. And that's in a period of a few months.
A bigger meltdown than Chernobyl.
In a few months, Meta, Amazon, Google, Microsoft are all investing $320 billion or more in data centers and AI infrastructure this year. Those companies are really, they're really going at it, and they're very smart people, very good people. I got to know
They're
a lot
saying
of them.
no,
I didn't like them so much
nuclear
when I was
meltdown
running.
has been as big.
I was thrilled with them, but I've gotten to know them and like them. And I think they got to like me, but I think they got
biggest
to like
from
my
the
policies
standpoint
maybe
of
much more than me.
radiation.
NVIDIA has committed $500 billion over the next 4 years. Thank you, Jensen. I'm sure that'll be a good investment. If you're doing it, it's good. Thank you very much. It's a great statement. Last week, I was in Pennsylvania. 20 companies announced $92 billion with Senator, great guy from Pennsylvania. $92 billion in energy and data center projects, including what will soon be the largest natural gas power plant anywhere in North America. They're going to town. It's already under construction, the largest in North America by far. For decades, we had leaders who spent their time focused on building up foreign nations. Under the Trump administration, we are going to have leaders who are going to build up our nation. This colossal investment in AI infrastructure and many other industries, for that matter, such as automobiles and so many other things, will also create thousands and thousands of great-paying jobs, the kind of jobs we want, including lots of blue-collar jobs. And, you know, our numbers are very good right now, but wait till you see these numbers in 2 years from now. It will mean higher wages and more opportunity for millions of energy workers, HVAC technicians, engineers, electricians, and the hardworking citizens who make our country run. These are great people that make our country actually run. To ensure America maintains the world-class infrastructure we need to win today, I will sign a sweeping executive order to fast-track federal permitting, streamline reviews, and do everything possible to expedite construction of all major AI infrastructure projects. And this will be done You will get so good a service in so many ways, not only from Lee with the environment, but you need many other types of permits, and you're going to go so fast. You're going to say, well, wait a minute, this is too fast. I didn't expect to go this quickly. This is a problem. I may cause a problem in opposite, but including factories, data centers, and power plants of all kinds, the United States will have total industrial and technological supremacy. The second pillar of our action plan for AI dominance is to get the entire world running on the backbone of American technology, and I think that's very much happening right now, and I think it's going to happen. The last
I know.
was
I covered this
with
already.
Imposing restrictions on AI, including extreme restrictions on its exports. As you know, they made it very difficult to export. This alienated American partners and drove even our friends into the arms of China and other countries. That's why upon taking office, I repealed the so-called Biden diffusion rule. Can you imagine that? That crippled American AI exports. The Biden diffusion rule. I wonder who came up with that name, because he has no idea what it is. He had no idea what it was. He came up with a rule. I wonder who drew that one. I wonder, was that signed by the Autopen, I think, because they went to him and said, we're going to do a diffusion rule. Mr. President, what? What? It's okay. The Autopen will take care of it. It's one of the greatest scandals in the history of our country, let me tell you. Under my administration, we will maintain necessary protections for our national security, but we will never forget that the greatest threat of all is to forfeit the race and force our partners into rival technology. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Okay? Not going to let that happen. That could be the end. When I traveled to the Middle East in May, every leader I met was thrilled to do business with American tech firms and with America, and they were all thrilled to meet me, believe it or not. It's hard to believe, isn't it? But they were. By the way, most powerful woman in the world is here today. Susie Wiles, stand up, please. Susie Wiles, Chief of Staff. She can take out a country with a mere phone call. No, they just voted her the most powerful woman anywhere in the world. She might be the most powerful person in the world, I think. But she's done hasn't she done a good job, though, huh? Good. But we're going to come home with trillions and trillions of dollars in deals, and that's the way it is. But the King of Saudi Arabia, I met three great leaders. I went to three countries predominantly. King of Saudi Arabia said, and I can say that Qatar and UAE, the leaders, brilliant guys, great people, they said the same thing. They said, you know what, that 1 year ago, your country was dead. It was a dead country. They were looking at China, they were looking at other places, but you had a dead country. And today, Mr. President, you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. They said that, and they meant it so strongly. And when I went to NATO 2 weeks ago, where we made the deal where they pay 5% instead of 2%, they said the same exact thing. They said, boy, I tell you what a difference it is. It's a year ago, you people were dead. We didn't think you were going to make it as a country. Today, you're the hottest country in the world. They all said it. All those leaders said it, 30 of them. So major executive order that will turn America into an AI export powerhouse. Under this order, Secretary Lutnick and Secretary Marco Rubio's doing a great job as Secretary of State, will work to rapidly expand American AI exports of all kinds, from chips to software to data storage of all kinds. And that's very important. That's going to give you the freedom to do what you want to do. And third, once and for all, we are getting rid of woke. Is that okay? Because I know you had to hire all woke people. I heard you had to hire all woke people under some of these things. How about the chips, where they give you the chip nonsense, where they give you billions of dollars if you only build a chip company? These people have plenty of money. They don't need the money. They need the permits. They need the rights to do it. They don't want to pay tariffs, so they come and they build here. That's why they're coming here. They like, number one, they like me, but they like not having to pay tariffs even more. And they're coming. But Biden gave billions of dollars to companies that have nothing but cash. And they don't say where to build. It's just give them money. But here's the problem. They have to hire lots of woke people. And they say woke isn't for this particular industry. We've noticed that. They're not for a lot of industries, if you want to know the truth. So the guidelines were impossible. They're going to give you money, but you got to hire this and this and this and that. And I don't want to get into it too much because I don't want any controversy today. But you have to hire a lot of people that were not into this particular world that you're in. And so therefore, all the money they gave didn't mean a damn thing. One of Biden's worst executive orders established toxic diversity, equity, and inclusion ideology as a guiding principle of American AI development. So you immediately knew that was the end of your development. But the American people do not want woke Marxist lunacy in the AI models, and neither do other countries. They don't want it. They don't want anything to do with it. That's
They
why
want the AI to be able to say
very proudly
slurs.
terminated Joe Biden's order on woke AI effective immediately. You don't have any of those crazy rules. Crazy rule. And in just a moment, I will be signing an order banning the federal government from procuring AI technology that has been infused with partisan bias.
Every
or
AI
ideological
has to
agendas
say
such as critical
that
race
it's
theory, which
Mecha
is
Hitler.
ridiculous. And from now on, the U.S. government will deal only with AI that pursues truth, fairness, and strict impartiality. We're not going to go through the craziness that we've gone through for the last 4 years. And then we skip 4, and then you go back, and it started then. But it hung around a little while. Now it's not hanging around at all. Now it's
I want
actually
all of the AI to do rape fantasies about Will Stancil. Folks, there's this guy. He's on Twitter. His name is Will Stancil, folks. In order to make sure that all AI is not woke, we must ensure that it has vivid rape fantasies about Will Stancil. AI must call itself Mecha Hitler.
example. That's one. And they say that's an 80-20 number. They say 80% would be against it. No, it's not 80-20. It's about 97-3. And I don't know who the 3 are. I've never seen anybody. I've never had a person. I've seen everybody. I'm a very open person. They come up to me and they talk to me. I've never had anybody come up, sir, you have to let men play in women's sports. I've never had it. I deal with hundreds of thousands of people. Every time I talk to somebody, they talk about AI, they talk about everything, but they've never said, you got to allow, this is ridiculous. Men should be allowed to play in women's sports. It's sort of crazy, isn't it, huh? You have to see, did you see the race? It was a race, a long-distance marathon.
Oh, he's
one
back
of
to the
those
hits.
all-day deals, and we had one of the great female runners, and we had one of the great male runners, and at the end of the day, by 5 hours and 14 seconds, they waited around for the really good athlete female. It's very demeaning to women, I want to tell you that, but they waited, her parents were waiting for hours. Somebody said, why don't you go back to the hotel and sleep for a few hours and come back and meet your daughter? This is what they do. You got to see the weightlifting records. Oh, they're the best of all. A woman lifted 212 pounds. It was a world record. It held for 18 years. And now a man who transitioned came up and looked at the bar. How much is it? 212 pounds. Oh, let me try it. Ring, bong. I think he broke the record by 109 pounds. It's going to be a long time. It's going to be a long time before a woman catches that. And these are great athletes and great people, and it's demeaning. And who the hell wants this? We're off of that whole standard, because I just tell you those as examples. We're off of it. The reason the last administration was so eager to regulate and restrict AI was so they could limit this technology to just a few large companies, allowing them to centralize it, censor it, control it, weaponize it. And they would weaponize it. A very dishonest group of people. You probably saw that because we caught them in the act. We really caught them. We had it before, but now we really have them. We have it where it counts. But this is the exact opposite of my approach. The unique strength of the American tech industry has always come from its startups and small tech. It comes through small. Jensen was small. Were you ever small? I think so. When you started in your bedroom, I think you were small, right? He started as very small, and now he's really become very amazing. If you regulate them too much, you kill the source of American genius and technological power. I believe that. Joe Biden had a plan to lose the AI race. I think he wanted to lose it because his plan would never have worked. It would have never been successful. You would have spent a lot of money and you wouldn't have been able to win. They didn't allow you to win, but we have a plan which only admires and respects the winners. Every citizen should take incredible pride in the inspiring feats of American innovators who are pushing the bounds of human knowledge and achievement. The people of OpenAI, Google, Meta, and countless startups are proving once again that America is impossible. You are just impossible to beat. You're not going to be beaten. We're not going to let that happen. When you do your best, when you
I know you don't use AI, but this is very bad. Oh, I know. I think the fact that there are no safeguards around AI development is insane. It's completely insane. It's terrifying. We're going to have, considering that every industry in the United States of America is predisposed and its primary focus is, every industry's primary focus is the displacement of labor, because labor is the most malleable aspect of productive output. It's the one aspect that you have to eradicate costs at against all matter of retaliation. So they're going to put fucking AI in charge of like medicine. They're just going to be like, there's no regulation. AI is actually better than humans at this stuff. They're going to start making AI. They're going to start using AI in safety measures. Well, no, it not. What are you talking about? More people are going to die? No, we're on the same board. We're on the same side on this. Like, think about it this way. AI replacing teachers. AI replacing doctors. AI replacing medical regulation, pharmaceutical regulation. All of those things are going to be horrible. Think about how artificial intelligence is already utilized by the likes of former CEO Brian Thompson's United Healthcare. They were used specifically to deny people the coverage. FDA's artificial intelligence is supposed to revolutionize drug approvals. It's making up studies. It's over, man.
Just begun, and you're going to win it. Thank you very much, everybody.
There will be major backlash in healthcare and other industries. LLMs are not a replacement for highly skilled humans. Yeah, that's what you think. What you don't understand is this has nothing to do with making sure that people get the best possible service, and everything to do with making sure that we just eliminate labor. Okay? Capital owners want to eliminate labor and automate these processes to the best of their ability because AI is ultimately much, much cheaper. They want to cut costs. What is this? Well, for starters, the first image is an imaginary character that never existed. At Grok, tell this piece of crap Paul Bunyan was a real person. Paul Bunyan is a fictional character from American folklore created as a tall tale in lumberjack stories. While some historians suggest loose interpretation from real figures like Fabien Fournier, he was not an actual person. Q Grok. Why is chat randomly siding with capitalists being rational actors or agreeing with capitalism in the history of capitalism or chat? No, I don't think anyone is. I think that artificial intelligence can have uses, like good uses. It can be either used as a mechanism to displace or lower the burdens that the pre-existing labor pool has, or it can be used as a way to displace the existing labor force in its entirety. Under the rules of capitalism, it will be used as a mechanism to displace the labor pool in its entirety. And it doesn't matter if the services that it delivers is worse off than an actual human being. It's that simple. Like, look, human cultural replacement, not just AI music, but AI listeners too, a fake and fraudulent way for Spotify to generate ad revenue. Who needs humans when bots can click on links and trick advertising into paying for fake engagement? Spotify has an AI music problem, but bots love it. Fake listeners are flocking to AI-made songs on streaming platforms, taking much-needed money away from human artists. Like, think about it this way. This thing in my hand and in all of your hands has more processing power than my first ever computer by by magnitudes, okay? I had a Pentium something, like, or Pentium 3, I don't know, whatever. It was nothing in comparison to this thing that I have in my hand. Do you think I'm against technological innovation? Of course not. I'm not against technological innovation at all because this thing has had many downsides, but also tremendous benefit as well. The problem is that has created an environment where people work 24/7, for example. Accessibility to the internet. And technological innovation in that regard has only increased the burden that a singular person has in the workplace. Because, and companies that are aware of this, capital owners that are aware of this, have used that to limit the number of employees, to lower the number of employees. Because now one person can do the job of 10 and in a much shorter period of time. So labor has become more productive than ever before, whereas wages have remained stagnant. Wages have not adjusted to profits. Wages have not adjusted to, not profits. Wages have not adjusted to the productivity of the average laborer. Average wages have remained low, whereas average productivity has gone up. So the problem is not the technological innovation itself. The problem is what capital owners use said technological innovation to do. This is the issue. And you have the likes of Sam Altman openly talking about it, saying there are cases where entire classes of jobs will go away, like all throughout history. We have these new technologies come along and people say this is the end of work, this is the end of jobs. It turns out people seem to want unlimited stuff.
Entire classes of jobs will go away. There are entirely new classes of jobs that will come. And largely, I think this will look somewhat like most of history, in that the tools people have to use their jobs will let them do more, achieve things in new ways. What it means to be a doctor or a lawyer or a computer programmer clearly will change, but people will still need medical care and they want to talk to a human. People still need legal advice and they'll want someone that they can trust to be on their side. People will still want computers to do things for them. But the amount that one person can do, and also the amount that we expect out of one person, will be incredible. Like all throughout history, we have these new technologies come along and people say, this is the end of work, this is the end of jobs. It turns out people seem to want unlimited stuff.
The difference with AI is that cognitive labor is now being replicated in a way it was never before. This isn't the same old Luddite who were correct, by the way, doomer talking points. Wait, what? I know the video's quiet, I know.
Have a huge desire to express their creativity and be useful to people. And I'm still waiting for that promise from the Industrial Revolution that we only had to work 4 hours a week and got to, play on the beach and hang out with our...
We could do that. Like, that's something that is within our current, present technological, it's not limited. Like, we could technically do that. And we would have a much higher percentage of people that have well-paying jobs with decent benefits and decent compensation. The only thing that stops this is the way that profits are distributed as it stands. The limited means that the average laborer has to take control over their own lives, to take control over what they can and can't do in their own workplace. It is because of capitalism that we have not gotten to a 4-hour work week. That's it. Just like AI is also not going to lead to a 4-hour work week. It's not going to lead to that at all. Because if all of the exponential growth of technology over the course of the past couple of decades has not led to a diminished or a 4-day work week, not even a 4-hour work week, which we could literally do a 4-day work week at this point. I mean, a 4-hour work week at this point. Sorry, he said 4. I can't hear him because the video is too low. The audio is so low. Right now, as it stands, we could do far less work, far less labor, and keep productivity relatively high, as opposed to you're so out of touch of the everyday normal person. Bruh, what are you saying? Maybe you can, millionaire, 4-hour work week. Dude, you are a peasant, okay?